So, by popular demand, I'm back in the library. Another library. About to get it in. We're going to go into Egypt. All right. Found a book on Egypt. Found a couple of books on Egypt. And we're going to go in those books. So, we got 3 books: The Treasures of the Pharaohs, Egypt, Land of the Pharaohs, and Hidden Treasures of Ancient Egypt. What should I go into first? I'm going to go into Hidden Treasures. I'm going to go to this one. Let's go. So what I just realized is this is a National Geographic book. National Geographic. Zahi Hawass. That's that Arab guy. Put a picture up. That's that guy that he's in all the excavations and everything. So y'all know who he is. A lot of times what they do is they'll whitewash the stone. So they'll take the paint off. And we know that most stone structures are terracotta, which is wood. It was painted. Now, of course, we understand these things were thousands of years old. So, there's going to be some corrosion. There's going to be some paint missing. But for the most part, a lot of things have survived. So when you see it like this, there's been some tampering with. So contrary to popular belief, a lot of people believe that, the people in Egypt today are the Egyptians. All you have to do is look no further than these actual statues where they've been whitewashed and just look at the hair. The hair tells the story, right? There are African tribes in Africa today that still do their hair this way. And the seed of Ishmael are, Arabic people. They're in different tribes and ethnicities, but they have never done their hair this way. Right? They just, they are people who, through conquest, through Islam, entered into the land of Egypt, I believe around the 7th century. When you look at these artifacts, the artifacts don't lie, that these were in fact a dark race of people. This says this is the sarcophagus of Queen Ahotep, right? Amenemhat III, all right? Once again, this goes back to a lot of artifacts where the nose is completely demolished, but everything else seems to be intact. Nose completely demolished, but everything else seems to be intact. The 6th dynasty reign of Pepi the First. Mentuhotep the Second, right? And let me just say, I'm not doing this because, I believe that black people in America are Egyptians, because I don't. I know we are not the Egyptians. We were the slave class or the hand class in ancient Egypt. This is just by popular demand, just to go through books. Of course, with this Sphinx, they definitely was messing with the nose. And then they probably realized they can't do nothing with it, so they left it alone. Definitely was messing with the nose on this Sphinx. This is a Sphinx. Again, this is how you can tell when they tamper with things. This whole statue of a woman, right? The paint seems to be off only in certain places. They left the black on the falcon, they left the black on the hieroglyphics, and they left the black on the eyebrows and the eyeliner and the hair, right? So it's obvious that this was tampered with. This is the death mask of King Tut. I think this is probably the most famous. Everybody knows what this is. So this is one of the Egyptian gods. This is Bes. This whole thing is made out of ivory. but this is definitely best. Whenever you see this little man with the beard and his tongue out, that's one of the gods of ancient Egypt. You see, it's artifacts like this where the people in Egypt today, because they have been there for hundreds of years, believe that they are the ancient Egyptians. And of course, this has been whitewashed also. This is a scribe. But if you look, of course, look at the hair. It gives everything away. This is the god Bes again. What made me actually do this actual video was because I was on a forum where there was a lot of racism towards black people coming from Arab people. And Arab people, a lot of them are under the impression that they were the ancient Egyptians. And also black people in America are under the impression that they were the ancient Egyptians. Like I said before, I don't believe we were the ancient Egyptians, but I do, Black Authentic Truth is about truth. So I do believe in, finding the truth in everything, speaking the truth in everything. So that is the purpose. That is the purpose of me doing a video like this on ancient Egypt. I want to go through all the cultures and just open books and just show people all you got to do is open books and see what the truth is. So look at this. It almost looked like it was set up for the picture. Right? Now I want you to look at the hair. Look at the hair. See how they be playing games? Now we're in this book. Uh-oh. This is what ancient Semites look like. Right here is they're paying tribute to Israel, to Egypt, by bringing gold and the best things from their land as gifts to the Pharaoh. That's what ancient Semites look like. A lot of times you see on other depictions on walls, they've been whitewashed. They've been completely repainted white. And you see they have the headband around their head with the beards. Yeah, that's what you're seeing right here. You're seeing Semitic people or Israelites. Another word they use in the books is Canaanites. They use that interchangeably. Here's a prime example of what being whitewashed. Now look at this one. Now look down here. Look at this one. Now look down here. So what they would say is so the question is it two races in Egypt? Was it two races that was ruling? Or was it one? But you know what they say? They'll say, "Oh, Egypt, it was an in-between of a lot of land, so there was a big melting pot and mixture." Yeah, I know Egypt was that, but at the same time, America is that too. But who's ruling America? Who is the primary race ruling America? Don't answer, but you get my point. Look at the style of the hair. These people were not Arabic. They were not. And you can tell by that one brother right here that this whole painting has been whitewashed. You can tell just by this one right here that the rest of them have been lightened. I think that there's a splendor that comes with ancient Egypt where everybody romanticizes and wants to be them, right? From a biblical perspective, the God of Israel said that Egypt would be destroyed and it wouldn't be no more. But you see the splendor, the gold, and the lavishness. And I feel like all nations, especially the people that have the authority today to dig up these things, really, really romanticize that this was them or it could have been them. Once again, one of the most common things you'll ever see in all black ancient cultures is the destruction of the nose. When you destroy that nose, it's like you're wiping off an identity, especially after you done took off all of the paint of these lifelike structures, these lifelike artifacts. What's the word I'm looking for? Sculptures. These lifelike sculptures. Like we think in black and white, so we think that back then they didn't have skill. They had a high level of skill. You look at some of these different cultures, and they would make lifelike portraits out of wood and stone, and then paint them the color of the people. So whenever you see them like this, like in ancient Greece and Rome, and they're just plain stone, it's been tampered with. They were not like this. They had eyeballs. They had everything filled in. And a lot of times it would be some type of precious stone. And grave robbers would just steal it. Now I really want you to pay attention to this one. Of course, we have the nose destroyed. Look at the way the sculptor did the hair. This is reminiscent of the ancient Greeks. This is reminiscent of that. Now, what it says is, though, in the little side notes, it says, although they were modeled on Egyptian prototypes, Potomac royal statues often display a marked classical influence in the representation of the facial features and hairstyle. So they're saying that they started to use the same type of classical influence. They call it classical, the style of sculptor. But we also know in history the Greeks entered into Egypt, right? But the Greeks were supposed to be white people. So why is his nose knocked off? I mean, that's a question. Now, this is the mummy of Queen Najmet. And I'm looking because a lot of times the people who are in control are the people that actually tell the story in the narrative. Now you can clearly see her hair texture, and not only the hair texture, which seems like a finer form of hair, but they braided their hair. All right. And we know the people that's in Egypt today don't do hairstyles like this. Not at all. Now, this is a bronze statue of Imhotep. Many people say that Imhotep is the Joseph of the Bible, who gained so much favor as an Israelite in ancient Egypt that he rose to chief vizier, the second in command under the Pharaoh. This is Queen Ty. So they went to reconstruct a girl's face through the skeleton, and this is the reconstruction that they reconstructed. Now I want you to look at this. They try so hard, right, to put themselves into history. And it looked like a white girl that done got plastic surgery, then got Botox. Look at the lips. It don't even look right. You know why? Because she's supposed to be dark skinned. Look at this. It's crazy. It's crazy when they be trying to do those reconstructions of, King Tut or what Adam looked like or whatnot, and it just looks silly. Now you can't tell me that these people wasn't a dark-skinned people. Remember the hairstyle. Look at that. They'll tell you, just like they talk about the icons. They'll say, because of all the years, it becomes darker. The paint becomes darker. And look at them. This is them whitewashing. They call it restoring. But all they really be doing is whitewashing, these things and putting themselves to insert themselves into history. That's what they do. Make them lighter. Make them look like, they were there and it wasn't a dark-skinned race. This was King Tut's face molded in gold. All right. The ancient Egyptians was a dark-skinned race. That's who they were. They were a dark-skinned race. And, right now you got people living in Egypt that are not, should I say, native to ancient Egypt, but they've been there for thousands of years. So they believe they are the Egyptians. But this is something I'm going to leave you with to think about. If, in fact, the Arab people who are in Egypt and who took over those lands there in Egypt today, if, in fact, they are the ancient Egyptians, then why do they desecrate the pharaoh's sarcophagus? Why do they pull up their bodies and examine them and disrespect them the way they do? If they were their ancestors, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. You don't see Americans digging up those first presidents and examining their bodies. You don't see them, other people doing this to their own, but they would do it to someone who is not their people, right? It's a thing of the spirit. You got to understand, like from a spiritual standpoint, why would you even desecrate the burial sites? Why would you dig them up? What's the point of digging them up? If they were really you, why are you digging them up? Why are you desecrating them? No one else in the world does that. So I'll leave you with that. Let me know what you think about this video. Give me your thoughts, your opinions. Whether it's good or bad, doesn't matter. And this is Black Authentic Truth.